Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I will be giving you an overview of drafting and interpreting financial statements unit, which is AAT level 4 unit. First of all, I'm just going to talk about the main topics covered in this unit. So the very first one is conceptual and ethical framework. Now, conceptual framework of financial reporting. As part of the conceptual framework of financial reporting, you study the general purpose of financial reporting, as well as qualitative characteristics of financial information, financial statements. So there are two fundamental qualitative characteristics, which are faithful representation and relevance. And then you have four enhancing qualitative characteristics, and those are comparability, verifiability, timeliness, and understandability. In addition to that, in the conceptual framework, you also study the main concepts we use in accounting, especially in preparation of financial statements. And there is also an underlying assumption. So underlying assumption is going concern. And then accrual concept, prudence concept, materiality concept, and some other concepts, including capital maintenance concept. And then as part of the ethical framework, you will study the ethical principles, so which are integrity, objectivity, professional competence and due care, professional behavior, and confidentiality, and also any threats to these ethical principles. However, everything in the context of financial reporting. So for example, financial statements should be prepared in accordance with the accounting standards. They should not be manipulated, because if they will be manipulated, remember what's going to happen is it will mislead the users of financial statements, which is not permitted, which is ethically wrong. And in some cases, it is illegal to do so as well. So once you cover that, then you will learn how to prepare financial statements of a single company, single entity. So here you will learn how to prepare a statement of comprehensive income. Quite often, students get confused with statement of profit or loss and statement of comprehensive income. Now, the companies have a choice. Either they can just produce one statement of comprehensive income, or they can produce two financial statements in relation to that. So one statement of profit or loss, and then a separate statement of comprehensive income. Or just one statement of comprehensive income, and the statement of profit and loss will be embedded in it. And then you will study statement of financial position, which is also known as balance sheet previously. Again, this is for one company. And in addition to that, you will study how to prepare a statement of changes in equity as well, and a statement of cash flows in accordance with International Accounting Standard 7, cash flow statement. So once you will learn how to prepare these financial statements for a single company, single entity, then you are going to learn how to interpret it, how to carry out ratio analysis. So there are various types of ratios: profitability ratios, efficiency ratios, short-term liquidity ratios, long-term liquidity ratios, gearing ratios, in other words, as well as some investors ratios as well. Investor ratios are mainly out of the syllabus of level 4, but rest of the ratios are part of your syllabus. You will also learn international accounting standards and international financial reporting standards, particularly IAS 1, which is presentation of financial statements, IAS 2, which deals with inventories, IAS 10, events after the reporting date, IAS 12, income tax, IAS 16, property, plant, and equipment, IAS 20, government grants, IAS 23, borrowing cost, IAS 36, impairment of assets, IAS 37, provisions, contingent assets, and contingent liabilities, IAS 38, intangible assets, and also as part of that, research and development cost. IFRS 3, business combinations, IFRS 10, consolidated financial statements. Now, what you need to do is you will need to understand the key accounting adjustments in line with these standards. So you don't need to kind of learn each and every single line of these standards, but what you need to learn is the key accounting adjustments. So what I will suggest you should do is you should make a summary of these international accounting standards, international financial reporting standards. I can record some separate videos on that, maybe on each international accounting standard and international financial reporting standards, if that will be helpful. So therefore, I need your suggestions. Now, the key thing with these international accounting standards and international financial reporting standards is what comes in exam is application of knowledge. Now, in order to apply correct knowledge, you must have to have the right knowledge, right concepts. So you must have to remember some of the key accounting adjustments in accordance with these accounting standards. So once you learn that, then you will go on and learn how to prepare financial statements for a group of companies. Now, in your syllabus, there is normally just one parent company and one subsidiary company. But in reality, in practice, there is a group of companies normally have more than few companies. But once you learn how to prepare for one, of course, that you can prepare for multiple companies. So the group of companies' financial statements, we call them consolidated financial statements, and these are prepared by parent company. So in addition to the single company financial statements, the parent company also need to prepare consolidated financial statements as well. So this is the overview of the topic which we will be covering as part of this unit. I'm just going to talk about some of the effective study techniques or study strategies. So what you need to do, you must understand the concepts. This is essential, as in exam, unseen question can come as well. And the students who understand these concepts very well, they can tackle with any new question comes in exam, any unseen question comes in exam, if they have strong concepts. And I know that AAT, a majority of the AAT students, they love to do calculations. They love to practice questions. That's important. I'm not denying the fact that that's important. That is really important. However, Practicing question without understanding the concepts doesn't really help you in exam. It might help you to some extent, but not enough to get really good marks. So I will suggest that make sure you understand the concepts clearly. The other thing, you need to understand the pro formas of financial statements. Although the pro formas are given to you normally, but remember that as a drop-down menu, you must have to select the correct item. So if you will know the sequence of it, then you will find it easier to tackle those financial statements preparation questions. And also, I suggest that you develop a step-by-step approach, particularly in consolidated financial statements. So for example, what I suggest is that you produce a pro forma. That's first step. Second step, deal with the easy items first. So in other words, for example, for property, plant and equipment, you know that you will be adding 2 companies, property, plant and equipment, and plus any fair value adjustment. So that's easy to do. So gain those easy marks first, then produce working for goodwill, calculation of goodwill. So normally if consolidated statement of financial position is tested, you normally have to complete goodwill calculation as working as well. Similarly, retained earning for the consolidated statement of financial position, and then non-controlling interest at the year end, of course, to include in the consolidated statement of financial position. So that step-by-step approach, once you learn it, it's easy for you to kind of follow that in exam as well. So some of the workings you might be doing as part of your rough workings. Group structure, establishing group structure. So again, once you produce a pro forma, you have to establish the group structure. So in other words, produce pro forma, establish group structure, deal with easy items, calculate goodwill, calculate retained earnings, and then calculate non-controlling interest. And then just complete the question, complete the answer. Another effective study technique in this unit is practice as many questions as possible. But like I said earlier, understand the concepts and then practice as many questions as possible. Now, 2 resources I really recommend: BPP Question Bank and as well as Osborne Workbook. These are really good resources I found for the question practice. And like I mentioned earlier, then make summary of international accounting standards and international financial reporting standards, and try to remember those key summaries of those. It should help you in exam. Well, I hope that this will be a useful video, although that I talked about the obvious stuff, but sometimes we all need some reminders. So thank you very much for listening, and I will be back with another video. Bye for now.